All right. So thank you for coming today. I know there's still people popping in, but we will be recording this as we go. Um, and so if you missed some of it, you'll be getting a recording of it in the next 24 to 48 hours, however long it takes my people to do their thing. So why am I here today? That's a big question, right? A lot of you know me, a lot of you don't know me, which is great, and I love helping and meeting new people. Uh, I've been in the business for 22 years and watching what's gone on, and I got to tell you, it's scary. It's scary. What's scary is people have brought in this thing called the big lie. It's my new book I'm working on, and this is kind of like, it's going to take me about 6 months to write the book, but I've got it all outlined. We've started writing it already. But I've been through everything you can in real estate, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I want to talk real quick before I get rolling here. Let me do is my little disclaimer. I'm going to give you examples. I'm going to do that shortly. And not all of them fit every single person. Have there been successful brokerages out there? Yeah, I'm sure there is. Has been successful teams out there? Yep, there have been. But I talk to brokers and leaders, team leaders all the time. I mean, every week I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of them. And it's helped me come up with this solution that I've been doing for a lot of years. And it's really about creating freedom. And I will tell you a little quick story before I get into all this stuff. I've been an entrepreneur for my whole life. And I chased the dollar my whole life because that's what I was taught to do. I'm 63 years old as of yesterday. Happy birthday, thanks. Um, and what I learned over the years, and it wasn't just real estate, by the way, the whole thing was a big lie. I missed everything. I missed my life. And I'm gonna talk very from the heart today because that's how I talk every time I do this stuff. Anyways, but my goal is if you're thinking about starting a team or a brokerage, or if you already have a team or a brokerage, I want you to be open-minded to think differently, right? People just don't think differently anymore. And that's a challenge. That's really a challenge to me for everybody is think a little bit differently. So when we're going through this, I want you to keep an open mind. If you want to criticize what I'm doing, I had a couple of those the other day. I'm okay with that. I got pretty thick skin when you've been doing what I've been doing for all these years. But the reality is, I just want to help you have a better life and claim your freedom back. Most people have really crappy jobs. My good friends that are successful realtors don't have businesses. That's a whole nother chapter. We're going to go into another point. They all have really crappy jobs. So here's some of the complaints. I started a business for leverage and freedom, and what they got was babysitting and prison. And I can tell you that was my life. And by the way, I don't. When I say babysitting in prison, you got to be so correct on how you say things these days. Um, it's not that I didn't love everybody that worked for me, but I gave up my life for their business. They work 60 to 100 hours a week. I worked 80 to 100 hours a week. Very little profit. When I had my brokerage, and I'm very transparent about this, my typical year I made between 50 and $100,000 profit with 100 agents, 120 agents, right? And you don't have any freedom. And what I've learned about life, and it really started 3 years ago when I turned 60, was if you don't have a life, then why are you doing what you're doing? There's no reason to be doing what you're doing. Now, we'll talk about it in a minute, but there's just no reason. It's just not the right way to go. Um, so, with my brokerage, and I'll give you a little background on it, is I've been an entrepreneur my whole life since I was 19 years old. I got into real estate in 2001. Uh, I didn't get the what was difficult. I sold 36 homes my first year. I didn't know anybody but my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and she lived with me, so she wasn't going anywhere. And second year I sold 50 homes. My fourth years I sold 80 homes. I started my team in 2004 with 6 agents, and I started my brokerage in 2005, Tropical Realty Century. And I followed what I was told to do: become really successful, start a team, start a brokerage. That's what we're told to do. But again, going back to all those things, there's just not a lot of money in it. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm known as the Godfather of internet lead conversion. Pretty much everything you see out there on your websites are based on the stuff that I built over the last 20 years. I was the first person doing forced registration. People used to yell at me. Realtors would yell at me like, "Why are you making people register on your site?" I was the first person using ISAs, inside sales agents for lead conversion. I grew my brokerage to 120. Actually, I think it was 125 agents. I've had a coaching business, seminar business for about 10 years. Merged my brokerage with EXP in 2017 with 40 agents. And currently, I have 2,200 agents in my organization in 49 states and 7 countries. So the reason why I tell you that's not to brag about what I've done. It's just to show you that I've been around the block a little and I've invented a lot of stuff. Some of my businesses in the back, I was the first online dating service. I was the third paintball business. Again, first person doing lead generation at a high level with real estate. It's my only superpower. And look at it's not my looks, that's for sure. I just think differently. I think outside the box. I look at any business, and by the way, a business is a business to me. It doesn't matter. I help lots of businesses that are not real estate businesses, but I look at a business differently than most people do. And what we're going to teach you today is what I've been doing for the last 10 years um, of what I've been doing. But I want to go over your typical team model, your typical broker model. And again, there's different variations of this, but this is your typical model. Um, and by the way, if you have any questions at all, just post them in the Q&A box, and I'll get to them at some point during this. Agents are on a 50-50 split. The broker team leader pays for the leads. The broker team leader pays for transaction coordinator. They pay for the assistant. They pay for the inside salesperson. They pay for all the marketing. The broker team leader pays for everything, almost everything, and they're giving away 50% of their business. Now I get that mentality, but it's the wrong mentality if you really look at things. Here's the reality: most of your team leaders, when you start a team, your production goes down 25 to 35% personally. Again, some people don't, but this is the average. People I talk to on a regular basis, this is what's happened. Brokers, people who have brokerages drop 50 to 75% because they have to, right? You can't run a good sized brokerage with anything. Most of the brokers and team leaders that I meet do personal production because that funds their team or their brokerage. I talked to a friend of mine the other day who runs a brokerage. She says she has to sell homes full time for 6 months to pay for her 15 agents, for all the stuff for her 15 agents. And why do we keep doing this? It's because of our ego. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you, when I owned Tropical Realty, I had the biggest ego in the world. I was the president of the board in 2014. I was a district vice president. I had 120 agents. Blah 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 blah. But you know what it didn't do? It didn't pay my bills and it didn't give me freedom. So right now, people are paying 50% of the commission to agents to show property and attend inspections. Why? And I'm going to give you a couple examples. Um, I talked to a brokerage in Hoboken, New Jersey recently. 350 agents in 2022. They hadn't done their 23 numbers yet. Actually, this is probably November, so wouldn't have done that. But in 2022, they made $104,000 net. Right? Talked to a brokerage out in Vegas, over 100 agents. They broke even last year. Talked to a brokerage in Ohio. They made about $150,000 with 300 agents last year. That's not fun. That's not a business. That's a really miserable job, right? And I know because I did it, so I understand all this stuff. So why do people do that? Because that's the way you've been taught to do it. And the other side of the coin is your agents are resentful that you're only giving them 50% of the commission most of the time, right? And once they get a little bit of success or start doing their own stuff, then they go, hey, you're the best mentor I've ever had. I'm going to go over here now. And they leave your brokerage or your team. So to me, that's not really a sustainable model, right? It's just not. What I want to do, and by the way, I have no idea how long this is going to be because I've never done this before. This is the first on this class, and I'm sure I'll be doing it many, many more times and doing seminars on it. But this will probably only be a half hour to 45 minutes, depending on you guys. Here's the thing. I'm built the modern team, and over the past 10 years, I've averaged between 20, 25, 30 sales every year, and I'd say about half of them are buyers. But here's the cool thing. I only worked 100 hours a year selling that many homes. And not a week, 100 hours a year. And it didn't dawn on me until recently that this is a great model that if you're really truly creating freedom, and again, you're going to hear me say that a lot, stop chasing money and start chasing freedom. So here's the beauty of the modern team. Nobody's depending on you. So when I made the switch over to EXP, the reason why I did this at 56 years old is I wanted nobody depending on me because I had all these people depending on me for everything. And I learned that the real reason was if I died, I couldn't help anybody anymore, right? And then all my agents who I made dependent on me would be struggling, right? Agents no longer will be calling you all days, all hours of the night and day for the help when you build the modern team. You'll no longer work 80 hours a week, right? You're gonna be working less than you've ever worked and making more money than you've ever made. You'll no longer miss your children. And this is the important stuff, by the way. You're not going to miss your children's events. I can be honest with you and tell you that over the my whole life, I never, I don't remember 5 things I do with my kids. I don't. Horrible, right? I've worked 80 to 100 hours a week since I was born, basically, since I've been an adult. And I know I was there, but I was never present. And I look back at my life, which is what you do when you get older, right? You look back at your life and you go, what did I do? I don't have a lot of memories. Don't get me wrong, I've had a great life and I'm not complaining at all, but I miss the most important parts. Like, I don't remember much of my children. I don't remember much of anything over the last 40 years of being an entrepreneur because I was so taught that if you work 80 to 100 hours a week, you'll be successful. And you will be financially successful most of the time. But there's better ways to do it and being more efficient. And that's what this is all about. Your relationships with your partner will become really strong. Children will be stronger. I work 35 hours a week now doing this, doing what I do, coaching and helping agents. And by the way, I don't charge for anything. I just help people. So I'm in a beautiful place in my life where life has been amazing to me, and I'm just helping. And the biggest thing here is you're going to create a business that works for you and not the other way around, right? That's the biggest thing I've seen is nobody in our business builds a business. Nobody. I mean, I talked to a guy the other day, he sells 100 homes a year. His life's horrible. Never got married, no kids, 30 years in the business, 35 years in the business, and all he does is work, right? What type of life is that? I said to him, he's 62 years old, same age as me. And I said, well, what are you waiting for? He's like, what do you mean? I go, you're going to die soon, right? He's like, yeah. I go, you're going to die 20 years, 15 years, 25 maybe, if you're lucky. When are you going to start living? And that's my question to all of you guys. You're all building these jobs, and I'm not saying I'm generalizing, of course. I know I just have to prerequisite, but you're all building these jobs that really don't have an exit strategy. They don't have a sustainability, especially if you get hurt, right? And with the modern team, the way I've designed this, is you can still function even if you don't function. Now you can't function if you're dead because that means you're dead. but um, but I'm trying to give you tools here to really think differently on how you run your business. So here's your staff: full-time assistant, full-time ISA, inside sales agent, transaction coordinator, and a list of agents that are not on your team. Remember, this is a modern team. So you don't actually have agents as team members, but are available to show property for you. Okay, so that's what your staff consists of when you're building this thing. And this is what my staff does right now. Well, not as much right now because I completely pulled out of production. But all right, full-time assistants. Let's talk about what that looks like. You need somebody licensed. I don't like anybody on my team not to be licensed. Transaction coordinator, I don't care about, but even them I like licensed. You want licensed because they can do all sorts of duties. Unlicensed assistant is limited to their duties. Pay is base plus a bonus, and this is market based. So whatever where you pay in California is going to be different from what we pay here in Florida. The full-time assistant goes to all my inspections. They set up all the showings for the agents. They run all of our listing activities, photos, room sizes, etc. They can write your contracts for you if you choose to. They coordinate open houses with other agents, and they do all of your marketing. Right, so your full-time assistant's got a really good job, right? Really busy job. But this is a key component of your business. And one thing I always talk about when you're hiring anybody is be really, really slow to hire the right person. Don't hire people just to hire people. That is not the way you want to go. Hire people because they're the right person. On the other side of that, be really quick to fire people. And don't, if you know someone's not working out, do it right then, right? Because the challenge is you go 3, 4 months, 6 months, every week or every day and every month that goes by, you really are making it more difficult to do that. Inside sales agents. What does an inside sales agent do? They're licensed. Again, base plus bonus, market based. They call your database of past customers in Sphere. You should not be doing that. You should never in your brain be doing $10, well, today is 15 or $20 an hour jobs, right? They call all your past customers, they call your Sphere, they call your internet leads, they keep your database organized, and it tracks all the buyers that you give to the agents, and they're going to show property for you, right? And then you need a transaction coordinator. Again, don't need to be licensed, but I like to. They're easy to pay because it's a transaction based um, person, right? So you have two employees. You have a and then you have a contract person, which is the transaction coordinator. They handle all aspects of contract to close. The only thing that I do on my closings is, and I still sell a couple homes here. I just closed one the other day. Um, is I call my listings every Friday and just check in to make sure tell them what's going on. Right? And then I have my Realtor Associates. So these are associates, not team members. Now, can they, if you have a brokerage, can they join your brokerage and be this? Yes, exactly. Not a problem. Licensed, of course. I pay hourly. Sometimes I pay by the house. And then if they buy one of the homes that they show, I give them a 10% bonus. Okay. Generally, they're not experienced agents, but they don't have to be, right? I choose a variety of different realtors that I work with that I know that are newer agents. And by the way, they need the experience in showing property, so I'm helping them too. That match different customer needs. So obviously, I'm showing a higher price property. I'm going to pick someone that dresses more upscale and things like that. They do all of the showings, and they report back to your assistant or the ISA to talk about the results of the showings. And if they find a property they want to write, the assistant writes the contract. Obviously, your job is to negotiate. So let me explain to you how I explain this to customers, right? And because we're going to get this done in a half hour. I love that. It's really simple. And this is how I've shown property for the last 10 years. Hey, Mr. Buyer, let me explain to you how I run my business. My superpower in real estate is finding the right house for you, negotiating the contract, and making sure it closes. What's not a great use of my time is running around showing you property. So what I do is I have team members that show me property, right? Show property for me. And the biggest thing we want to make sure you don't miss anything that you see because sometimes you need to see something. Every time I've sent an email to my agents locally, I've got 10 plus agents respond that they would show property for $25 an hour, right? So it's really easy. I've not lost one customer over the years. So a lot of people say, "Well, my customer, my customer." Well, you can still do it if you want to. But the question is you're never going to create freedom if you're out showing property. Let's face it, showing buyers, and I love buyers, I actually like buyers better than listings. It's way more fun. But showing buyers how to, is the biggest time suck of our business. That same 62-year-old that I talked to, 50% of his buyers, of his sales are from buyers. So he does 80 plus sales a year, 80 to 100 sales, 50% of buyers. And I said to him, I said, so is it safe to say that you show 60 to 70 different buyers every year? Think about that. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of loss of freedom. So this is the gist of it. But I want you to look at the numbers. So right now, if you have a team or a brokerage, the typical model pays 50%, which means on a $250,000 in commissions, you're paying out $125,000 to those agents. But you still have to pay for everything, right? So the agent, even though they complain about their 50% split, right? They don't pay for anything else except for their board dues or something like that. And this is a typical team model, typical brokerage model. So out of your $125,000 as the broker or team leader, you're literally not netting anything. You're losing, right? On that, you're losing money on that. There's no way you're making money on that. So with the modern team, and I have spreadsheets for this, and I'm willing to, by the way, if anybody's interested in going over this a little more detail, I'm glad I get on a Zoom call with you, look at your business and what you're currently doing, and see kind of how we can mold it into this modern team. By the way, I have no sales pitch, so this is I'm not selling anything. But maybe buy my book when we're done when it comes to the market. But instead of spending $125,000 with the team model and broker model we have now, you're only paying $41,000 out of that $250,000 in commissions. So you're netting $84,000 a month, a year rather, in revenue from that for the team leader or broker. So think about that. You're giving up $125,000 and now you're netting more money, a lot more money. Um, yeah, Misty, just uh, drop me a note, and I'm going to give you my contact info. We'll get on a call with you guys. Thank you. Um, yeah. So if you want to set up a time with me, my contact is going to in a minute. You guys can reach out to me. And I'm glad to set up times and Zoom calls with all guys. Just when you book in my calendar, and I'll put that there. When you book in my calendar, make sure you book an hour so we have time because I really need to learn about your business to really give you free advice on this stuff. Um, but think about that. You're going from paying out $125,000 to paying out only $41,000, and now you're making an $85,000 increase in your revenue. And a lot of times that could be per agent if you're a brokerage, right? I mean, that was mine. I was paying out 50% split, and the average agent was making, my good agents were making 100 to $150,000 a year. So I was paying out 100 to $150,000 to show property and write, not even write contracts, show property and go to inspections. So why would you do that, right? Um, anyway, so I got some questions here. Let me go through this real quick so I can see on top of them. Okay. Somebody asked what town of Florida. I live in Merritt Island, Florida. Um, and my office, I have an office there and an office in Melbourne. The other question, do you allow inside sales agents to take their own listings and buyer clients? No, an inside sales agent, great question, Doug. An inside sales question is literally that's what they do. You don't give them any other duties. They're not an admin person or anything like that because if you're doing that, um, you've now created an avenue for them to not make phone calls. And your ISA, your inside, I'm going to say ISA, your ISA has to be making phone calls. That's how you build your business. Your business is built on solid email programs, and I can go over this with people when we talk, and solid phone calls. And those are so important. So no, they don't do that. Someone asked if Dave if this will be recorded. Yes, it will be recorded. It is being recorded right now, and I will send it out to everybody. Um, who is here, so you'll get this back, and I'll also send it to anybody that didn't show up today because I knew people are busy. So this is simple, right? So people are going to ask me. There's always I had when I made this post, it was really funny. I love people, right? When I made this post, they're like, "What are you trying to sell us?" I'm like, "I'm not trying to sell anything. I really don't have to sell anything. My life is amazing, right? I have a beautiful mate. I've achieved freedom in my life, right? And that's what I want for all of you. That's why I'm teaching this stuff now, because I think a measure of your success in life has nothing to do with money. It's how many lives you've changed. And I'm on a huge mission. And my goal this year, I want to change at least 50 people's lives. That's my goal. And I'm already doing that. I've got appointments set up already next week for other people that I'm talking to about other stuff to help them grow their businesses. And I'm really there. There's a better way. Everybody gets sucked into this big lie. We all did. I did. A bunch of you probably have. But everybody gets sucked into this big lie that this is how you run a business. But you didn't. You built a really crappy job. When I had my brokerage, I didn't have a business. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. 80-hour week is not a business. I was so busy, and some of you are going to relate to this. I was so busy being in my business and that I never built my business. And that's what I see a lot of my successful friends who are selling houses at a high level, sometimes 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 plus homes. Most of them, some have businesses, most of them never built a business. Most of my broker friends are miserable. I literally talk to three, four, five brokers every single week. I've not met any that are happy. Now they play the game. I always wore nice clothes. I drive nice cars. I appear to be successful. Nobody knew that I was wallowing in debt to do that. But anyways, I'm doing this because I want to help you. And that's just honest. I just want to help people grow their life. If something I teach you helps you and it goes, go to my charity. Go to my charity. It's lolasgift.com and you can donate. My granddaughter has a rare disease. And I do that. It's my mission the rest of my life, besides helping realtors, is to raise money for my charity. So, um, you don't have to put a penny in there, but if you find something that helps valuable, either today or in the future as we start moving forward with some of these classes on teaching you how to grow, please do that. A few more comments. So where does the $41,000 number come from? So I'm only paying out an hourly rate plus a base. I mean, a base plus a bonus. So instead of giving someone 50% of my commission, the dollar figures on $250,000 of commissions based on that is $41,000. Okay, Josh. Um, yeah, and I'll send this PowerPoint with everybody too. I might even send a spreadsheet with that. Um, do you supply the agents with any systems as a team leader besides the CRM? Uh, no, they're not my agents. Remember, they're not my agents. They're not my. They're really just people that I'm contracting to go show property for me. That's their only purpose. They're not doing anything else for me. They're not. So it's a different mindset. So your team is you, your assistant, your ISA, and your transaction coordinator. That's your team. And now you're just reaching out to available agents that you keep in a list of agents that fit the criteria for the customer that you want to do. So if I have a younger person, I might use a younger realtor so they can associate with them. Again, if higher end, I'll use it more. Someone that dresses more upscale, things like that. Um, there's a company called Show Army. Thanks, Cindy. There's a company called Show Army. You can do that. I don't personally like to do that. Uh, a company like that, and I've been asked to start that type of company. Um, but the reality is I want to know who I'm picking, right? And there's so many people here. Like Julie just said, that show armies can be dangerous. There's so many people that want to show homes, that want to get better at the business, want to learn the business more. There's tons. Like I said, every time I send an email to show property, I literally get um, I literally get 10 responses or more, right? Next question. What CRM and systems are you using? Well, I'm not using anything anymore because I don't sell houses anymore. Um, right now, we use Follow Up Boss and KV Core for our systems to run our business. We still use those. Um, let's see. Next question. Got a lot of questions, which I love. Thanks. I like when people interact. It makes it way more fun. Let's see. When will you be sending the recording and spreadsheet over? I'll probably be sending that in the next 24 hours. Uh, you're welcome, Anna. I mean, I know it's completely different mindset, right? And I love this stuff. This is a long one. Agreed about the very bad job with 50-50 model with where the team generates the leads. I've also done the showing agent thing, yet it results in a team dependent upon my selling activity. Again, you're not bringing anybody here in your team, so there's nobody dependent on you. That makes sense? Nobody's on my team. I have no team members on my team. Um, and you say we move out of production into coaching? Well, that's whoever that. It's an anonymous attendee. Reach out to me and we'll have that conversation. It's a lot bigger conversation than that. But yes, you can move out of production. I'm not in production yet. I still sell a lot. Not now because I completely stopped. But I still sold a lot of homes. Next question. Um, if you were building your team one member at a time, what order would you go in? Assistant, um, TC, and ISA, right? Uh, let's see. Next question, Scott. What did you do for your birthday, Mitch? Well, my wife's out of town, so I literally spent the birthday with me and my dog on the couch, chilling out, relaxing. It was very fun. Um, so thank you, thanks, Scott. I had a great birthday. It's fun turning old. I like getting older. It gives me all this wisdom that I get to teach everybody. Um, all right, and any other questions on there? You guys are asking some great questions, so I appreciate that. I'm going to give you my contact info. For an assistant role, do you have a range of a base? Sure, that's a great question, Scott. It's market related. So my assistants were generally. I'll do. Here's what I would be doing now. I did 15% plus 5% of my commissions for my assistant. $15 an hour. I'm sorry, $15 an hour plus 5%. So yeah, that would be $30,000 base plus 5% commission would be their bonus. Um, and yeah, and so that's kind of what I would do. Same thing with an ISA, same pay rate basically. It's $15 an hour plus 5%. That could pretty much get you anywhere in most markets. But again, some markets here in California, it's going to be it's going to be that, right? Um, Do you use follow-up boss for attraction purposes? I don't want to get into attraction stuff here. That's an EXP thing, and I don't really want to talk about that on here. Glad to have that conversation on the side with you guys. Um, I reach out to people that I know that need to make some extra money and that want to go show homes for me because they need the cash. That's the people I reach out to. I'm not building. Again, you got to remember, we're not building a team here. We're building your only team is your admin people, right? Um, See, I'm in a state where all compensation has to go through the brokerage out of commission. Can this work if agents don't get paid for their duties until there's a closing? You can hire people on a contract. You should be able to hire people to show property. I don't know any state that's illegal, but I could be wrong. Wendy, let's have a conversation on the side of that. I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to find out what state you're from and where that goes. Uh, Please say and repeat the structure. Dave, let's get on another call on that because I don't want to go repeat all the stuff here. And we'll get on a call and go over that. That's not a problem. Linda, how do you pay the showing agents? Same thing. They're paid strictly by you can pay them hourly or by house. So if they're showing 4 houses, you could pay them 20. I pay $25 an hour, but you could pay $25 a house if you want. Again, depends on your market. I know in California, a couple of friends I've taught this to, they're paying $50 a house when doing that. Um, and then I give them a 10% bonus if I do that, and that's where the $41,000 payout comes from. That dollar figure. Um, all right, what else we got here? And by I say transaction coordinators are all paid based on what you are, what's there. Um, Melody's asked me in the Bay Area, California, what hourly. I would say that the probably you could 30, 40, $50 an hour. It's again, I don't know your markets. You just have to kind of look around and test the water. And I still use a 10% bonus. That's my number. Now if it's really high end properties like you are in the Bay Area there, Melody, you might want to choose to use a lower percentage of bonus, but that's up to you. Those are all these things are up to you guys, by the way. I'm just giving you examples of what I've done, and it really comes down to how do you get freedom. I know I keep saying that, but it's how do you get freedom. um, are there sales where the 50-50 doesn't apply? I'm not really sure what that means, Bill. um, and I'm not sure what you mean by there. uh, Again, I don't pay anybody 50-50 on anything anymore. So everybody I talk to, every house that I've sold for buyers over the last 10 years has been hourly plus bonus. um, Next question, Jeff. Do you have to pay for a marketing company to do social media ads, or you do it yourself through KV Core? Um, yeah, I mean, I've paid marketing companies before. I use a company called Home Game with BuyerLink to do marketing to generate sales. Again, we'll have a lead generation webinar. I don't really want to get into that here because this is really about the structure of a team going forward, right? Next question from Holly is, do you have showing agents sign a contract or something stating they don't steal your customers? I never have, but that's a great idea. I work with people that I know. I don't bring out people that I don't know. I wouldn't let anybody show a property that I didn't know anyways. And here's the reality: if they did that, they would never get another anything from me. No more help, no more anything. Uh, I guess structurally it would make sense, Holly, to do that. So that's a great suggestion. I personally have never done that, and to me, I just wouldn't. I've never done it. But again, so I don't have I guess I don't have a contract to share with you on what I've done because I've never done that. But it's not a bad idea. I would think about that. All right, hold on a second, Bill. Let me. Um, um, yeah. So, are there any? You can again, Bill. You can do it any way you want. And this is about whether you want to do a 50-50 with someone. You can do 50-50 with anybody you want. That's your call. My goal is once you start bringing team members on, you start having a responsibility, and then life changes. So that's why I'm against that, and I would never ever 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 do a team in a million years again. If assistant sources their own client, do you exempt them from that salary bonus, or would they that muddy the waters? Again, that's a personal thing. My assistants didn't sell property. If they did, would I care? Yeah, probably wouldn't allow it. I mean, they work for me, right? Their job is to do. I'm paying them a lot of money. We're talking about a 60, 70, $80,000 a year job, right? I want them working for me. So I give them a referral fee? Sure. I'd probably give them a referral fee for it, but I wouldn't let them buy or sell, list or sell property. In most instances, I might change that at some point, but that's the way I look at it. Next question. Do you recommend that showing agent create an LLC so you can pay them as a business and write off the business expense? That's a different, that's a different, I guess, state to state issue on that. I write off anybody I pay because they're just people I pay. Now, if you pay them over $600 over a year, you have to give them a 1099. I did 1099s without being in an LLC. So again, that's probably a state to state thing. I never became an LLC when I was doing that. I just literally paid people, right? Um, you're welcome, Holly. All right, another question here. What have been the challenges you've had hiring assistants, and what is your advice around hiring, training, and managing them? Great question, Ben. So I've not really had too much trouble. The way I've hired always is I've got a list of all realtors locally within within my area, and put out an email blast to everybody who's looking for a job, and I've hired that way. So I really have never had any problem doing that. Training is different, so you've got to train them on your system. So let's face it, there's work to everything you do, right? You have to do work. You're not going to just set this up and you're done. You still have to you still have to work. So you're gonna have to train. But here's what I recommend on training, and I'm glad you brought this up, Ben. So don't show me talk about this. Everything that you teach your assistant to do, you need to have them document and basically have a, a manual of their job. Same thing with the TC, same thing with an ISA, everything you do. So that everything that we've done over the years is we had our employees, at the time we had employees, a lot of employees, we had our employees document their entire business, right? And that changes, right? So Ben, that's how I've done that over the years. I've just hired people, I've trained them, but I've documented processes while doing that. But you still have to manage people. I mean, it's still a gig, right? But you're running a business. This is the difference, right? And when you're running a business looking from the outside looking in, you're running a business. The business is working for you, right? When you're so busy doing all these tasks that we're talking about, you're not running a business. You have a crappy job. Right? And we're going to talk. The next one I do, I'm definitely going to do my next class on that because I think it's important. So great question. Thanks, man. Next question. What is the solution if you move markets or want to retire? What happens to your business then? Well, that just depends, right? You gotta have lead gen. But literally, you can run a business from anywhere where you currently are, right? If you're doing the same thing, you still have your, it takes time to build a business in a new location, right? We all know that. So I would say that to me, moving to another area, you're still keeping your ISA, you're still keeping your TC, you're still keeping your assistant, then you're still continuing to run that business. If you want to retire, that's still the same thing. But the only thing that I was doing during those times is I was going on listing appointments. So now I might have a couple people that do listing appointments for me, and I might pay them, you know, just a fee to go on a listing appointment. You give them an hourly or give them a percentage. Maybe I give them 10% just to do a listing appointment for me, something like that. So it really depends. I mean, the hard part of when I do these webinar things, everybody's different. Time is different. Everybody's business is different. Everybody's lack of business is different. So it's really challenging for me to make sure that I know more about what you're doing, so I can really look at what you're doing. What is your goals? Where do you want to be? How do you want to get there? How much time do you have? That's you. Um, Next question is a particular skill set looking for an assistant prior to hiring and training. Um, Again, I'll go back to this, Michael. Just really, really take your time hiring the right person. Don't hire somebody because you have to hire someone today, because you're going to get somebody that doesn't work out. Hire someone. I mean, there's things that I look for when I'm hiring someone. I look for personality. I look on a resume. The most important thing on a resume is how long have they kept their jobs. I will not hire someone that skipped jobs every year. I have minimum 2 years at the last couple of jobs. I won't. I just won't hire. I don't even look. I won't even call them. They won't even get a call because I'm not hiring anybody. Now, with the exception of if somewhere in their resume they said they were a mother for the last 10 years, or a father for a stay-at-home dad, different story. But um, but no, I want to make sure that they're the right people. I want to make sure that the person who's doing my ISA likes to make phone calls and is going to make phone calls. I do not hire them to do cold calling, by the way. They are only calling my sphere and my internet leads. Okay. All right. And I think, um, thanks, Josh. Yeah, set up time, Josh, to talk, and we'll get on a call and talk about stuff. Um, all right. I think we've got all of our questions answered. Look at that. We're like professionals here. Here's my contact info. Um, if you want to schedule an appointment, set up, email me, and I'll email you my calendar. I guess if we put this thing down here in a second, I can give you my calendar now. Give me 1 second. I'll put my calendar link in there. I might be this might be a mistake, but let me get my calendar link for you, and I will post it in the box here for you, the chat box for you guys. Let me just find it. I have to go to emails. Give me a second here. I gotta find it. I'm glad to meet with anybody one on one. My schedule is really tight. Being, I I I'm booked a lot. So if for some reason you try to get on a schedule and you can't get on it for some reason, I'm putting it in the chat box for you. So my calendar link will be in there. It's there now. If you need to get on a call with me, and you can't find something in the next week or two, let me know, and I'll try to squeeze some time in for you. Um, Another couple quick questions. Do you have a job description for an assistant that you can share? I actually don't at the moment. A lot more questions here. um, I don't because I haven't hired one for years. Pat's been my assistant for 18 years, so I haven't done that. Are you covering ISA scripts? I will get into ISA scripts at some point, but that would be a different conversation. Uh, you mentioned mailing is also key in addition to calls. That's an email program, Melody. Let's get on a call, Melody, and go over that because that's a whole another thing, right? Um, let's see, Ben. Thanks, Ben. Ben's always so nice to me. At least some of is. Um, I put a link in the chat box. You should see it in there. If not, again, just email me and at my Mitch at mitchrealty.com, and I will send you my calendar link. All right. Um, all right. I think we taken enough of you guys' times here. Any other questions, real quick? Yeah, it's just see that. Yeah. So the chat's disabled. Okay. Just go ahead and again, just email me, Mitch at mitchrealty.com, and I will send you my calendar link. When you book a time with me, make sure you book an hour. All right. We're not going to be on a call for an hour, most likely, but book an hour so we don't have to rush. I hate rushing two people. Okay. Um, all right, guys. I don't see anything else that's asking questions here, so we're going to call this a day. Thank you so much for coming. Let me stop my share here and talk for me as a human. So thanks for attending today. I love doing this stuff. Love helping people. It's my mission in life is to help as many people as possible. And so anything I can do to help. I am going to be doing several of these. Basically, every chapter of my new book will be a new class, and I just haven't decided how frequently I'm going to do them. But as long as you guys keep coming, I'm going to keep doing this stuff. So thanks, everybody. You take care. Have a great day. Happy New Year, by the way. Bye.